Hi Capricorn, welcome back to the Astrology 33 channel. This is your March 2026 tarot reading. Thank you to those of you who have liked, viewed, shared, and subscribed to the channel. I appreciate all of that. For those of you new to the channel, as far as what we have in front of us, it's a 12 card spread. With each of those cards representing a different house of the zodiac, starting with your sign, Capricorn is the first house, all the way through to Sagittarius, representing the 12th house. And after we get through that main spread, we'll actually pull an oracle card as well for some additional insight. As far as the decks being used this month, for the main tarot deck, we have the Spirit Keeper's Tarot, and for the Oracle card, we'll be using the Wisdom Oracle. As far as how we'll start the reading off, though, we'll actually roll with those astrology dice we have in front of us to get an idea of where your folks should be as far as that goes. Alright, so we have Aquarius. So Aquarius for you guys is your second house of possession, self-worth, and finances. We're pretty much already in Pisces season, so there's not much going on there, astrologically speaking, but we do still have Pluto there, which of course could be a pretty powerful energy to have in your second house. All right, we have Jupiter. So Jupiter is actually in your 7th house of partnerships, contracts, and relationships. It's been there for quite some time, but it's been retrograde as well. And on the 10th of March, it'll finally start a direct cycle again. So you could see some positive momentum and shifts in that area of life. And we have 5. So 5th house energy for you guys is Taurus. And we've had Uranus there for quite some time, and that's still going on there as well. And then let's see what else. Toward the very end of March, we'll have Venus move into Taurus as well. But yeah, other than that, it's a little bit quiet there outside of that. But we'll keep all that in mind as we go through the main spread. So for the first house, which points to personality, self-awareness, and appearance, we have the Herald of the Winds. So this is basically the equivalent of the Page of Swords in traditional tarot. So yeah, this could just be saying that maybe you guys are being a bit more exploratory with your communication, right? So maybe you're initiating conversations with people that maybe you haven't normally spoken to, right? And some of this could just be due to the fact that we have that Mercury retrograde just about to start up in Pisces, which is your 3rd house of communication. So, maybe this is just making you a little bit more curious when it comes to communication and wanting to speak to people that maybe you had a bit of a distant curiosity about, but for whatever reason never really spoke to them until the current time. And for some of you, this could just be saying on the flip side of that, maybe there's a little bit of nervousness around communicating when you're around new people. But I feel like it's more of the first scenario for a lot of you this month. So yeah, like we said, Aquarius came up with the dice too, and Aquarius is the natural second house for you guys. But as far as the tarot card for your second house, we have the 8 of Scepters. So it's actually a Sagittarius energy. This deck is referred to as the sharpshooter. So yeah, so I feel like this is saying when it comes to your finances, you're going to be getting things moving in the right direction. You might have a really sharp mind when it comes to your finances this month as well. So definitely a positive thing to see there. All right, in the 3rd house, which points to communication, short journeys, and siblings, we have the Empress. So this is a Venusian energy here. And yeah, to see this here, I feel like this is just saying that for whatever reason, you're going to be very tuned in and receptive this month. So I feel like even without trying, you're going to have these good ideas coming to you this month that are going to benefit you in multiple areas of life. All right, so in the 4th house, which in general points to home, roots, and family, we have the Archangel of Mysteries. So this is the equivalent of the King of Pentacles in this deck. And yeah, that's actually technically a Taurus energy, which for you guys is 5th house energy. So again, I'm getting this energy of just ideas flowing to you. So you might get creative projects that keep coming to mind for you guys, or even just creative ways to handle day-to-day routine things that you might be doing, but I feel like they're ultimately benefiting you. All right, so 5th house energy, we were just talking about that. As far as that's Taurus for you guys, and now here for the 5th house energy with the tarot, we have Bread of Life. So that's actually the Ace of Orbs, the deepening as it's referred to in this deck. Um, so basically, the orbs would be pentacle energy as well. So yeah, I feel like this is just saying that ideas flow to you naturally this month, and they could actually benefit you in a financial sense, or even just in a tangible, practical sense, right? So maybe certain ways to tackle routine things you might need to get done, and maybe just creative ways around going about that this month will keep flowing to you. In the sixth house, which in general points to health, work, and daily routines, we have the initiate. So this is the equivalent of the Fool in traditional tarot. There's actually three of those in this deck, and this one is actually Spirit in Search of Experience. So yeah, so maybe that's part of what we're seeing with that uh, basically Page of Swords energy, as it's called in this deck, Herald of the Winds. Could just be one of those things where there's a curiosity about you where you're seeking out new experiences, right? So for some of you, could just be in more casual conversation. Looking at it in this context, could just be saying that maybe you're trying to experience new things within the workplace, right? So maybe still within your normal environment, but you might have curiosity about different departments now, right? You might want to see, hey, let me see what this other area of the company does, and exploring that energy this month. So, as we said, we have Jupiter in your seventh house. It will start a direct cycle on March 10th. And as far as your tarot card for seventh house, we have the Force. This is the equivalent of the Strength card in traditional tarot, which is a Leo energy. So, yeah, so it could just be saying that for some of you, maybe you're holding yourselves back a little bit when it comes to your romantic relationships. You know, maybe you might have these passionate feelings coming to the surface for you, but for whatever reason, you might be holding them back. Could be reasons for that, right? Maybe you know that there's something going on with your partner right now that they wouldn't really be open to that at this time. Maybe you just realize you have so many other things to do that you're like, okay, well, I do want to jump into this energy right now. I have so many other things up in the air that I need to take care of. But whatever the case, I feel like this is saying that you do have deep passion when it comes to that area of life, but for some of you, you just might be holding back. But yeah, there could still be success there regardless. So if you do decide that ultimately you don't want to hold back, looks like you be able to make some forward progress there as well. All right, so for the eighth house, which in general points to death, rebirth, intimacy, and investments, we have New World Order. So this is the equivalent of just the World card in traditional tarot. But yeah, seeing this here, I feel like this is saying you might have learned some deep lessons around that area of life. Now, for me, usually I view the World card as pointing to two energies, Saturn and also the North Node. So you don't really have either of those interacting with your eighth house at this time. But yeah, I feel like this is just saying that around those areas of life, you might have learned some deep things. So given that the North Node is in your third house, maybe you learned some lessons around this area of life through conversing with others, right? So maybe getting different perspectives, different viewpoints in casual conversation might have actually helped you look at things from that area of life through a different lens and experience some growth there. All right. In the ninth house, which points to philosophy, higher learning, and foreign affairs, we have Apocalypse. So this is the equivalent of the Judgment in traditional tarot. You can see down here it says Last Judgment. Looking at this, yeah, I feel like this is saying that maybe there's going to be something coming back around for you guys this month. So again, that could definitely be at least tied into the Mercury retrograde we were talking about. But I feel like when it does come back around, though, you're going to view it through a different lens this time. So that goes back to what I was saying, right? Maybe you're gaining valuable experiences this month, hearing perspectives of others, and then it actually helps you look back on a situation from your past through a different viewpoint, and now, you know, have a different appreciation for that experience that maybe you didn't have while you were going through it. And I mean, I will say that's pretty much right on time given the fact that there are actually, you know, we already talked about the Mercury retrograde side of things, but there's also the fact that you guys are going to have a full moon eclipse in your ninth house, and that's going to be on the 3rd of March. So early on in the month, that might be what brings that back to the surface too. All right, so for the 10th house of career and social status, we have the Archangel of Glory. So this is the equivalent of the King of Wands, basically. So yeah, so again, I feel like this is just saying that you're really going to be on point when it comes to your finances this month, when it comes to your work. I feel like this is saying that you're going to have ideas flowing through you, you're going to have a creative approach to things, a curiosity to things as well, and it seems like it's going to benefit you. All right, so for the 11th house, which in general points to friendships, groups, hopes, and wishes, we have the Healer. So this is the equivalent of the Star card, which is Aquarius energy, and that's actually the natural ruler of the 11th house, Aquarius. So to see this here seems like a good fit as far as that goes. But beyond that, could just be saying that maybe you're in your interactions with people, maybe there's going to be a certain bit of healing that takes place within that, right? So maybe healing a friendship with someone that you might have had a falling out with, right? Or maybe through conversing with others, they might shed some light unknowingly. I feel like they're not purposely directing you in that direction. Like they might not have even known you back during the time when you went through that original wound, but they might say something that helps you revisit a situation from the past that might have been a wounding through that different lens. And then you're like, wow, okay, now I'm seeing that a totally different way and getting some healing through that. But yeah, it could just be saying that through interacting with others in general might bring a bit of a healing energy around you this month. And I feel like it'll be a symbiotic relationship. I feel like you'll be providing that same energy for them like they're doing for you. But again, I feel like it's not the goal of the interaction, but it just might happen organically. All right, and for the 12th house, which points to spirituality, blind spots, mental health, we have the Magus. So yeah, this is the equivalent of the Magician in traditional tarot. Yeah, to me, this is just an indicator. Like I said, it just seems like things are going to be flowing through you this month in a very positive way. And again, like I said, well, maybe on the one hand, right? Like I did mention earlier, maybe you're going to be seeking out conversations with people that maybe you normally wouldn't have reached out to, and through that could be part of what initiates this. But I feel like even if you don't actively pursue those types of conversations, it just seems like you're going to be tapped in on some level this month to where these things are just going to keep flowing your way one way or the other. All right, and bottom of the deck we have the Necromancer. So this is the equivalent of the Moon in traditional tarot, and I did mention briefly how we're going to have that full moon eclipse in your 9th house early this month, and then there's also going to be a new moon in Pisces, which is your 3rd house of communication. That's going to be on the 18th, and speaking of which, looking at it through that lens, maybe that'll be around the time when you do feel a little bit more emboldened to maybe start conversations with people you normally wouldn't have, right? Given that that would be a new moon in your 3rd house of communication. But yeah, usually when I see this card pop up in the spread, I pay more attention to the main lunar cycles of that month. So technically, even though it would be April 1st, you could also think about what might be going on around the time of the Libra full moon, which would be taking place on April 1st. So for you guys, that would be a 10th house full moon too. So maybe there could be some shifting around career there. But we'll see what the Oracle card adds to the mix. So like I mentioned, we're going to pull a card from the Wisdom of the Oracle decks. What I'm going to do is just give this a few shuffles, then I'll put the deck down, we'll pull a card when we cut the deck. All right. So okay. And we'll take this card here. Let's get this out of the way and see what you guys got. All right, so we have 1, which in this deck is Yang energy. So yeah, it's definitely an action-oriented type of energy. And again, like I said, I feel like there is going to be this curiosity about you guys this month to where you do take on a bit more of an exploratory type of energy, more of a curiosity. So this seems to align with that, but we'll see what it actually says in the book. All right, essential meanings says the masculine principle of movement and creative activity, the power to make things happen, taking action. The oracle's message: Yang represents the power of action, the energies that propel the world forward, and manifesting thought and desire into concrete form. Now is the perfect time to act, for you can easily build momentum and make headway. What you want will come to fruition if you proceed confidently. This card signifies new life and is a sure sign that obstacles have been overcome. There is no reason to hesitate. You are the shaper of your destiny now. So yeah, it's interesting. As I was reading that message, I was also thinking about I mentioned the fact that there's going to be that new moon in your third house communication, but then I was also thinking about the fact that Mars will also be in your third house communication for the majority of March. I think it's going to get there around the second or third of the month. So that could also be what's leading to that curiosity and more of a bold energy around communications for you guys this month. All right, the relationship message says circumstances are supporting action on your part. It's okay to make the first move. Trust that you will quickly know where you stand. In matters of the heart, there is movement toward your highest good, so go forth with assurance. Passion is in the air, and now is the time to dance to the tune of love. Take the lead. So that's an interesting message there because that puts a bit of a spin on what we were saying with the force, right? Which is the strength card, Leo energy there, where, like I was saying, you might be holding yourselves back, even though you might have a strong attraction for someone. So if that was why you were doing so, right, because you were having doubts around it, hopefully that message gave you some valuable insight there. And lastly, for the prosperity message, it says projects, partnerships, and all matters relating to your business are out of the obstacle phase and onto the make it happen phase. Now is the time to stake your claim and get things done. While you can expect to be busier than usual, this card tells you that you have all the energy and vitality you need to accomplish your goals. Abundance is waiting for you to claim it. So yeah, definitely a pretty solid message there as well. And then that seems to align with what I was saying, where it seems like you're going to be in a nice flow and a nice zone this month. But yeah, hopefully that message resonated with you guys, and we'll wrap up there. All right, bye.